I am greeting you, ladies and gentlemen, to this episode number 34 on this channel about the daily insanity on German roads. I hope you are going to have a good time and not lose your mind about the things you are going to witness. We have come to a stop at a red light. Pretty standard. But the following events pretty much just leave me without words. It's not very long ago that we had one of those big brain players who want to turn left from a right lane. At least the turn signals were used, but they are worth nothing if the mirrors get absolutely neglected. Where did I put the Darwin Award again? We got a very narrow single-lane roadwork zone, and there is this BMW ahead who thinks he can outsmart everybody else. He assumingly wants to overtake the others by illegally driving over the fresh road surface on the right. Reminds me of those newspaper articles where some car is stuck inside some half-liquid pavement. That is what I gotta think about here. It doesn't end that tragically, but it's still a big fail. Sure, why to slowly enter a road while watching traffic when a big trailer is blocking your sight? Why to waste time only for the sake of safety? This is not how driving works. What you can't see here is the taxi behind Michelle. She's about to stop for a moment to relax, and the cab driver checks if she's alright. It's good to know that really not all cab drivers are reckless and oblivious idiots. Sometimes a tricky road layout can mess with your senses. Looks like a ghost driver is approaching. The wet and reflective road really made it look like somebody driving the wrong way. Now let's see how you drive wrong the right way. Money buys you a really nice car, but you can't buy good driving skills. The scene didn't seem too bad because Philip was stopping in time, but that is how really bad head-on collisions happen. The BMW driver assumingly missed his red light, and if Philip wouldn't be very attentive, he would have just driven right into the BMW because right of way. Then there would be two totaled cars and quite possibly some bad injuries. As long as this way of driving will exist, it will always keep being the same basic message. Always pay attention while driving. The poor guy here did pay attention, but bad luck struck him hard. As his movement implies, he did watch the mirrors before the car was accelerating, assuming he can safely get out. I have to blame the camera driver for hitting the door, because he started accelerating just after the door opened. So, you as an experienced dashcam watcher should know what's about to happen here. The intensity of braking of our camera driver might have been a little overkill, but he said he didn't recognize the indicators of the other car and got surprised by his move. But other than that, this clip gives a nice impression of the relevance of safety distance. The driver behind our car kept enough distance, so was able to stop before both vehicles would have ended up in a unity of cold forming. Take that example. That is a lot closer. And the distance in this clip here is basically non-existent, especially at this weather. The camera driver is basically yelling for rear-ending somebody. I don't know if those cops are recognizing this, but by intention or not, the squad car is taking care of making this guy back off. A minute ago, I was talking about paying attention. This guy here wasn't listening. This is one example why insuring your car is mandated.
Damn.
Ah, Felix, you are not driving right. You were entering the exit lane properly early. Here, this BMW shows you how to do it right. Always do it as late as possible. Here, this white car over there ignores the entire length of the exit lane and takes it ridiculously late. What an example! And this Volvo here shows another unwritten rule: to take exits from the left lane to properly mess with all others. What the hell? Turns out our driver did have something stuck in his tire, which also messed up the paint on the side here. He kept driving until reaching the next car repair shop. The tire was completely flat by then, and the shop just patched up his tire. This really wasn't a good decision of the shop, because a tire that has been running flat at any point receives quite the damages to its overall structure. You can't see much of that from the outside, but every car tire contains a steel mesh for stability. And when this mesh gets heavily bent back and forth when running flat, it gets damaged and loses plenty of stability. That will result in a random tire blow, and you don't want to have that, especially running on the freeway. A damaged tire should definitely be swapped out for a new one, and also it is recommended that you never swap out a single tire. You should always swap both tires of the same axle, because different tires can result in different forces having impact on the sides of the car. For example, when you have an old tire on the right side and a new one on the left, when you are braking, the left side has better grip and the car will pull to the left side while braking, and you might end up steering into oncoming traffic without steering at all. The absolute best idea would always be to change all tires at once. We are driving through some little town, speed limit of 50 kph, and we are going very slowly due to a Porsche in the front of this van over there. His low speed and the weird driving in the middle of the road seems to be suspicious enough for what's about to happen. This van driver seems to be hurrying quite much. He seems to be short on time, because a few moments later we got this red light that couldn't be any redder. You can't see it very well, but there is a fence where that deer wanted to go. And since it can't, it needs to get back from where it came from. 2 weeks later.
Oh, Mann, schon wieder hier. Scheiße, pass doch eben auf hier. Alter, schon wieder dieselbe Stelle, ey. Mann, da muss man doch bei kleinem wissen. Langsam fahren hier.
Indeed, it does make sense to drive carefully in areas with crossing animals. We even have the sign in Europe that lets you know when driving in such an area. So, that's it for today. Here's another episode for you to click on, because good content must be consumed. And we'll be gathering again in a few days.